Random Eggs Productions and the Credible Nerds present The Fourth Taviran, a Wheel of Time podcast. To close out, we like to review a little bit of the history, kind of the backstories of events, of organizations, of characters. And for this episode, we want to discuss the breaking of the world. We talked a little bit about it earlier in the episode. We wanted to save it for the end here to kind of go into a little more detail. Mark, he wrote up a kind of a synopsis of the breaking of the world, and it's posted on our website, crediblenerds.com. Go there and read it if you haven't already. We just want to address the breaking of the world and kind of what it is. So do you want to take it from here, Mark?
Yeah, yes, I will. So as I read through this book and So Large, there's just so much, and it just touches on certain events. And one of the events that it just kind of touches on, and it just talks about it sporadically, is the breaking of the world. And it's such a huge event to this book because it kind of helps define the reality that these people are living in. You know, without the breaking, it would be completely different. And so the breaking of the world was the very beginning of this age. You know, it happened at the very beginning of this age. And it's kind of a big event because it wasn't just the breaking of the world, it was the sealing of the bore as well. So what happened is, you know, the Dark One's out. He's got all his Forsaken. They're attacking. So Lews Therin Telamon, that we read about, right, in the prologue, he attacks this the Shale Ghoul to seal this bore, and he seals it. And in doing so, he locked 13 of the most powerful Forsaken in there, sealed off the Dark One from the world. But it's a last-ditch effort. The Dark One was able to use a backlash and taint Satan, and that's the male half of the source, right? We've got Shadar, which is the female, Satan is the male. And basically what it did is, you know, if men were to channel, it turns them mad slowly. You know, they start, you know, seeing things out of the corner of their eye, seeing things aren't there. The reality completely changes. Whatever it is, what, you know, I mean, it just sounds like it just could be anything. So after they sealed the bore, all these men started going crazy and they started attacking the world. And it was so bad that both the light forces and the dark forces stopped fighting, had to put down all these men and kill them and stop this catastrophic event. And the breaking of the world, it was probably more devastating than the actual War of Light, right?
Yeah.
It was, I mean, whole towns were destroyed. Millions and millions of people were killed.
Well, the face of the land was changed, right?
Yeah, face of the land was changed because it wasn't like a 5 or 10 year event. The breaking lasted for, you know, 250, 300 years. And it talks about it. So the information that's great to read, and I quote this in it, is the world of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. And it talks a lot, a bit about it, and that's kind of where I got my information from, straight from that. And I mean, it was so destructive that nobody is exactly sure how long it lasted, because nobody was alive that knew the dates anymore. And it just kind of talks about that, you know, like the events surrounding it, you know, what Lews Therin's goal was, who helped him. They're called the Companions. You know, who they were and things like that. And it's good knowledge to know. It's a good little history to know, because you will always read about the breaking.
Yeah.
Everything comes down, you know, starts from the breaking to this, you know, to these events that we're reading to now. And, you know, so it's a good little read. It's only like, you know, a page and a half long total. I would suggest reading it. It's a fun read, and it's going to give you some good information, you know, about the beginning. And I'm going to do this periodically throughout this, just to give us more information as we talk about different things, you know, so that you have some context. And it's exciting, and then you can know what we're talking about. But yeah, the breaking, great event. The only bummer thing about it is I wish I would have known more. about it. I think that would be really cool to see, exactly all the events that happen to the breaking, just everything. It's really neat.
Yeah.
So,
That could be its own 15-book series, is how the breaking happened, what went down
oh,
afterwards, all that.
oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean, everybody was hurt, and we'll read more about what an Ogier is later. But like Ogier were left wandering the world. There was no cities as we know them to like. If you what you think of a city, there was just like little huts of groups of people of like 5 and 10 people. There just wasn't society.
Yeah.
And that's how vast the destruction was.
Yeah. So just a little bit more about the boar. There was the creator, and then there's the dark one, who are always in contention with one another. The dark one he can only touch the world through the boar, right? This hole in reality, linking our world to the dark one's dimension or whatever, his world or whatever it is. And so when Lews Therin sealed the boar, he covered that hole using the 7 Quendiar seals. And those will come into play later. But so that's what sealing the boar means. You'll read a lot about that too as we go on. Sealing the boar, that's just closing off the hole, the doorway that the Dark One uses to touch our world and cause chaos.
Mm-hmm. And the boar was created in the Second Age, and we call it the Age of Legends. And it talks about that a little bit in the book, and we can talk a little bit more about that. I didn't start there just because it's not an age the books are in, whereas the breaking happened, was the very beginning of the age. But we can talk more if people would like to hear about it. We don't really know anything about it except what we can read in like 5 pages in this book by Robert Jordan and Teresa Patterson. And the way that's explained is like I think they said that there's a book and the most pages together are like 11 pages. Age of Legends. So they, not even the current book is knowledgeable on what happened in the Age of Legends. We just know it was an awesome time, and then it ended with the sealing of the boar.
Yeah. So we can get into that once we get to that part in the story, or maybe perhaps a little earlier. But yeah, there's more to the story. While recording this last episode, Mark and I kept talking about certain topics that contain spoilers. So we wanted to put this at the end of the podcast and give you a spoiler warning. If you haven't read all 15 books of The Wheel of Time, you will be exposed to some spoilers. So just be warned. We spend a few minutes talking about Mat, Rand, and Lan, and who's the better swordsman, who would win in a one-on-one duel between these 3. And so we give some speculation on that. So sit back and enjoy this bonus content. So your question is, can Mat beat Rand or Lan in a duel, or?
Yeah, a duel with weapons.
One-on-one?
Yes, with no power, no power, no using power, because otherwise Lan just picks him up, rips him in half, and whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Are you talking like right now in the story, or just at the peak of their powers?
At the peak. Because I just passed that part where he just slam dunked Gawain and Gilad's faces.
Oh yeah, at the tower.
When he's like on, an inch away from death's bed. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he goes in there and just like
destroys them,
junks on their faces, and so I'm just like, oh my gosh, like how awesome is this guy really? Because those 2 are considered like top 5 best swordsmen of the era.
Well, this is before he went into the doorways too, right?
Yeah, before he went into the doorway.
This is book 2.
Yeah. And so it's like, man, by book 13, like
maybe it's book 3, but still early.
Mm-hmm. Like how awesome is he? Like how good is he? Could he beat Rand, who's considered the second best, or could he beat Lan, who's considered the best? I think Ashendari.
I guess you got to determine who's better, Rand or Lan. I think at the peak, Rand is better. So can Mat beat Lan? I think so. I don't know if he can beat Rand though. I think it'd be a tie at best.
Oh yeah, I could see it just because like Rand has all that knowledge too, right? It's not just Matt that has all the knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good because Rand's taller, so he's a little bit stronger, but Matt's quicker. I don't know, man.
Because I think Matt is totally uh looked over as
Oh
like
yeah,
a deadly hand-to-hand fighter. But after that, I was like, oh my gosh, like are like, and then he beat Khaled, Cool Dane or what? However you say his
Hooden.
name? Yeah, in 1v1, and this is like a warrior that's like amazing. And I remember it like it was a cool fight, but it's not like Matt. It was close. Matt killed him pretty solidly.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'd definitely be. It wouldn't be one sided. It'd be close. Maybe Rand. Maybe Matt wins
Yeah, I
because Rand
wonder.
is just pretty much the sword. Well, Matt can do the staff, the sword, the bow. I mean, he's more. He's
More
got
versatile.
yeah, more versatile.
Hmm.
Huh. Yeah.
Be interesting. We'll have to ask that question when we get like way down the road. But I've always, after I read that again, I was like, oh yeah, he was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, is he more awesome than these guys?
Yeah. I think those are the top three in the story, I would say.
Mhm.
Who is there any dark friends or dark forsaken who are good with the sword
Uh,
that
I mean,
match them?
Demon Dread is good. Ravine was supposed to be really good. Remember, in book 3, Ravine was actually beating Rand pretty good until what's his name? Until Moiraine killed him with Bellfire. But it was only book 3, you know. But it's kind of hinted that Ravine had beaten Luther and Telamon in their prime.
Hmm. Was he the one that had the scar
He's the one that
from Luce Theron?
from no, that's Samael.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, yeah, Ravine isn't he the one that took over? Uh,
Camelin.
yeah, Camelin and put more gas kind of under his spell.
Yeah. Huh.
So
Yeah. I wish they would have done like even though they were just like practicing and had those three face off with each other.
hmm
Anderson should have done it because he does those type of stories or moments and stories.
the moment I can't wait to get to is when Matt and Rand are like having that one up session, And he's like, "Are you really trying to one up the Dragon Reborn?" And then Matt's like, "I saved Moiraine. Take that, put that in your hat and stuff it," and just like walks away.
Yeah.
It cracked me up.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's
Randall's awesome until he got all dark and moody.
yeah, and he was like, I was just kind of like, man, what's your problem? Like, are you for real? Like, you're
Yeah.
just gonna, like, especially when he went to the Seanchin the first time. I mean, he's like, uh, and I think it was in book 14 when he went and he was like almost freaked out and killed everybody.
Yeah.
And then he went to the mountain and I don't know, became sane. I don't remember, but like I was like, man, this guy's like losing it, like too much losing it.
Yeah. Overall, he's my favorite character, but there was times where he was just kind of hard to read or it's like, dude, snap out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do we know anything about um what's that Murdral that's like the chief?
Oh,
Shadar Haran?
yeah. So what I heard um, was that Shadar Haran was like a way for like let's see, I'm pulling up now. If I remember right, it was like he was like a way for the Dark One to leave Shadar Logoth, or yeah, to leave Sheo Ghul in a way. Let me look real quick.
Because he just showed up in one of the books, right? All of a sudden he was there and he's like in charge of the Forsaken. But we didn't
Yeah,
get an explanation, I don't think.
yeah, and then all of a sudden we just see his husk laying there.
Yeah.
His gaze strikes fear in the. So I wonder if it's just one of those things that they couldn't find in Robert Jordan's notes, so they just kind of wrote him off. Like, well, we don't know what to do with this guy.
Yeah, maybe.
Kind of like, I feel like that's what happened with Padan Fain. Like, look, he's got all this crazy power, and we don't know what to do with him. So we'll have Matt just kill him because he's immune to the, to the knife or something like that.
Yeah, he ended up being anticlimactic at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And wasn't he the one that just showed up? Yeah, I'm here. I'm going to kill you. And then he dies.
Yeah, he shows up with all this power, and like he's got like undead Trollocs following him or something like that. And he like just comes in the valley and starts laying havoc to everybody. And then he like touches Matt with the Shadar, and then Matt stabs him with the ruby. He's like, "Oh, I've already been down that path. That can't affect me again," or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, okay, that wasn't cool."
Yeah, they needed to build his story up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Even as it was, there was so much going on in those last chapters that kind of. But he was part of the story from the first chapter, right? The second chapter. So he deserves something bigger than what he got, I think.
Yeah, he deserved a way better ending than that, and that's why I say I almost feel like they didn't have notes, like they were just incomplete notes, and nobody knew what to do with them, and so they just kind of had to change the story. I mean, I don't know. I always thought that Shadar, Haran, and Padan Fain were gonna fight.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Because he took out murderers left and right.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you have this super fade.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Mm-hmm. But never saw it. They both had crappy endings.
Yeah, almost like we needed another book.
I know. We do. That'd be so cool.
Take a little walk to the edge of town and go across the track where the viaduct looms like a bird of doom as it shifts and cracks, where secrets lie.